This video will walk you through setting up the SureStitch Regulator to your quilting frame. This assembly process is for frames with a dual wheel track only. If your frame has a single wheel track, please see the SureStitch video for single wheel track frames. These videos and other resources can be found on our website at www.graceframe.com. These are the included parts needed to install your SureStitch to a dual track frame: the control box, 2 metal brackets and 2 encoders, one with a longer bolt and one with a shorter bolt, display console, display cord, sewing machine control cable, power cord, cable ties, tie mounts, and Velcro. You will need 2 tools for the SureStitch assembly: a 10mm open wrench and an M6 Allen wrench. Both of these tools should have come originally with your quilting frame. Your sewing machine and frame may be different than the ones used in this video. You may have carriages that have the wheels on the inside of the carriage. It is okay to modify the installation steps as needed for your frame. As you install the SureStitch, the important things to note are that the encoder wheels should turn as you move your carriage on the frame, and that the carriage can move freely in a full range of motion without pulling on any of the wires. It will be helpful to first decide where you want to place the control box. Ideal placement is on the back of the sewing machine or top carriage of the frame, but it can also be placed on the side. The important thing is to make sure that when it is installed with all of the wires attached, your carriage can move freely in all directions without snagging or pulling on the wires. To attach the control box, remove the backing from the adhesive and press the control box into place. To prepare the encoders for use on a dual-track frame, we must first attach them to the included metal brackets. First, remove the 2 screws and plastic washers from the back of the blue plastic bracket. Now remove the encoder from the plastic bracket, being careful not to lose the included spring. Now, with the spring still in place on the encoder, attach the encoder to the metal bracket using the 2 screws and plastic washers as shown. Do this to prepare both encoders. Now we'll attach the encoder to the bottom carriage. First, remove the back wheel from the carriage. Keep the screw along with any spacers or washers from the wheel. Use the screw from the wheel to attach the encoder to the bottom carriage. Replace any spacers or washers in the order that they were removed from the carriage. Just hand tighten the encoder until snug for now. Next, we'll attach the other encoder to the top carriage. Remove the back wheel on the side closest to where the control box will be. Use the screw from the wheel to attach the encoder to the top carriage. Replace any spacers or washers in the order that they were removed from the carriage. Again, just hand tighten the encoder until it's snug for now. Now we'll place the bottom carriage on the frame. Adjust the bottom encoder so that the encoder wheel is touching the black plastic track on the frame, and then tighten it in place. Then place the top carriage on the bottom carriage so that it rolls smoothly. Adjust the top encoder so that the encoder wheel is touching the black plastic track on the carriage, and then tighten it in place. When the encoders are tightened in place, the black encoder wheels should turn as you move the carriage back and forth. Now we'll place a sewing machine onto the carriage and attach all the cables to the control box. Leave the sewing machine powered off until the SureStitch is completely installed. Connect the encoder cables to the bottom of the control box in a way that they don't become tangled. We'll use a zip tie and tie mount in this video to keep the cables clear and untangled. You can also use the included Velcro. Here, we'll place one zip tie on the top carriage near the control box and bottom encoder. Then we secure the cable to the zip ties, making sure that the cable won't interfere with the carriage motion. We'll also cut the excess zip ties to keep the area neat and organized. The sewing machine control cable is plugged into the port for your sewing machine's foot pedal. The other end plugs into the side of the control box. The power cord plugs into the opposite side of the control box and an available outlet. Attach the display console to the front of the carriage handle using the Velcro strap. Line up the connectors in the display cord and the display console and connect them. We'll now wrap the display cord on the carriage handle to remove any excess slack. You could instead use the provided Velcro or zip ties to keep the cord neat and organized. The other end of the display cord plugs into the control box. Your SureStitch is now fully assembled and ready to stitch. Please see our tutorial video on how to use the SureStitch and learn its functions. If you need any help with your SureStitch, troubleshooting videos are available, or you can contact the Grace Company at 1-800-264-0644.